Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm back with an incremental update. I'm tired of doing updates for this thing, but if I don't do an update today, the next video will be a finished product that's sealed shut that you wouldn't be able to see inside of. So that's kind of the point of this video. As you can see, it's not, this piece is already screwed into the base, or the other way around, I guess. So this is connected, but the back side is not connected, nor are the front or back panels. That was just for the sake of being able to have room to do the wiring. So as you can see, it's just standard household solid core wiring, which it's kind of a pain to work with because it's thick, it's really hard to cut and strip, and you gotta really bend it to make it go where you want, or it'll put a lot of stress and pressure on whatever you hook it up to. But what I like about it is once you do bend it to the right position or shape, if it ever came loose, it wouldn't go flying around and hitting other stuff, because usually when solid core wiring gets, like if a solder joint breaks, they don't move very far from where they were soldered due to, being solid core. You bend it to a shape and it'll stay in that shape. Unlike stranded wiring where, if a solder joint comes loose, I think it goes springing around and hitting something. So I actually don't mind it. Wire nuts seem a little scary at first, but they're actually pretty tough, and we use hundreds of these in everybody's houses across the entire country, and they obviously do the job. So, and I hear it's actually preferred over soldering. They don't want you to solder because if you don't have a proper solder joint, it can break apart, short something out, and on top of that, you don't get the insulation that you get from a wire nut. So anyways, I'm gonna try not to blabber too much. The fan is an 80mm. I put the grill on the inside because I don't want wiring getting into the fan. I don't have a grill on the outside, but I don't care. If I hit my finger, big deal. But on the inside, I do not want wiring to get inside and hit the fan. That would be bad. But it's really low powered, 12 volt, shouldn't matter, but whatever. Other side is just an opening. Obviously, if I'm blowing air out of the box, it's going to need to be replaced with fresh air. So that's basically the intake, and that's exhaust. The reasoning I set it up for exhaust, I just vaguely remember a long time ago, while building a new PC or something, reading that PC fans usually work better as an exhaust than they do for pushing air in, just barely, slightly, I guess. I don't know. Whether it's true or not, I don't think the difference is going to be big enough that it'll really actually matter. But anyways, I set it up as an exhaust, so it'll blow the warm air out, and then it'll create a low pressure inside there. So then, sorry, I'm hitting the microphone. So then the air will get replaced with fresh air on this end. And as you can see, the heat sinks aren't mounted the right way for the air to flow across the fins. But if I mount it the other way, the wire terminals would be directly against the wood on either side, and there just wasn't enough room. So I mounted them this way. But if you look, there's plenty of room for the air to go around it. And I mean, it's got this fan dedicated to this entire channel. That's basically the width of the fan. So it's going to be way overkill, because when I load tested both my iron and my rework station for 15 minutes each without any heatsink, it didn't even, it barely got lukewarm to the touch. So heatsinks overkill, fans overkill, but I'm just doing it so I'll sleep better at night knowing that I'm not going to burn my house down. So anyways, that's why they're mounted like that. Those are already mounted, and this is mounted, but the back and the sides, the front, and the top obviously aren't mounted. So what I'm going to do now is set the camera down for a second, and I'll plug it in and just demonstrate it working, because as you can see, this one's actually hooked up to the Arduino right now. This one is not. So I'm going to plug my shop light into this outlet, plug this into the wall, and then I'll fire up a timer and then show you that it'll turn on. So I already did a video demonstrating it, but this time it'll be actually hooked up with the final wiring. So yeah. Okay, so I got the top on it, and I got it, my shop light, which is right there, hooked up into here. The reason I'm using that, last time I used the soldering iron, but it actually has a microcontroller in it that controls, the entire show. And so it would take 2 seconds or so for the screen to come on, so it was kind of a delay, and it didn't seem like it was directly correlated to the actual outlet being switched on or off. So this time I'm using a light, so as soon as it switches on or off, it'll be instant and you'll be able to, you know, visually see as proof that it's working. The other way seemed a little gimmicky, like someone in the background was flipping a switch or something, but anyways, I don't know if you can follow the wiring for that, right up to here. So it's plugged into there, this is plugged into that yellow GFCI outlet, or power strip I mean. So all we have left to do set it to 2 minutes. There you go. It's on. And here, just to show you, we'll switch it off and back on. Hopefully while we're talking that'll switch off. There we go. Okay, so let's see, is there anything else? Oh, so this is a thick 2x4, and so I'm not able to use the grommets I bought, but it's not too big of a deal. I'm not really worried about it because the outside casing or sheathing or whatever you want to call this, it is super thick, and it's a really hard plastic, and I don't think that it's going to fray, especially for something that's going to be permanently mounted. You know, if this were a power tool that you're moving around every day, you definitely want to grommet, but this is literally going to be mounted permanently to the bottom of my workbench, so I'm not really too worried about that fraying, and the hole is the perfect size. And before I seal it up permanently, I might actually sand the edges just because, I don't know, I probably don't need to, but whatever. As you could see, that flashing was the 1 minute warning saying, hey, your time is about to run out. If you want to add more time, push the center button on the remote. Let's see. Oh, the brown and yellow wiring is the control wiring from the Arduino. Brown is common. The two yellows are the signals basically to control either solid state relay. The problem I'm having is that if I mount it permanently into here now and then seal it up, I'm not going to be able to get the wiring neatly. You know, if I mount the entire project there and then drill a hole, I wouldn't be able to run the wiring out and around if it's already permanently mounted into this box, because obviously I wouldn't be able to fit this through a hole back there. So I need to make it modular. So I think what I'm going to do is use USB, because there's already 3 wires, and then I'm going to need a 4th 12-volt wire to run the fan. So, oh, there we go, it just turned off. USB has 4 wires, obviously, 2 for data and 2 for power. So if I use all 4, I think that should be perfect. So what I could do basically is just I don't know if I've never really cut open a USB cable that I can think of, but I imagine the power cables could be heavier gauge, but I doubt it. I bet they're all the same. Because they're only good for like, what, 400, 500 milliamps or something. Anyways, I'll probably do the ground and the 12 volt on the power lines, and then the data lines will take the two signal lines that turn on the solid state relay. So one of the main reasons I'm going USB, first off, USB cables are cheap, and you can get long ones on monoprice for a couple dollars. Second off, it's one of the few connectors I actually have on hand. I have some female A and B type USB connectors, so I'll be able to, you know, put one in here and then hook it up. And the cool thing is, you know, obviously that's literally just controlling the fan and switching these on or off. So the USB cable could come unplugged, and the only thing that would happen is that these outlets obviously just wouldn't work. But so it doesn't need to be any kind of super permanent sturdy connection, and USB would be fine. Sorry, I'm super shaky cam right now. So panel mount, I think hopefully that's not too thick to use panel mount USB, but I'm pretty sure that's how I'm gonna do it. It's really late at night. It's 3:45 in the morning, so it's really almost really early morning, but it's too late to do any drilling or sawing or anything, so I'm gonna have to finish it tomorrow. But I'll probably get the sucker painted. The wiring obviously is already done. You just saw me demonstrate it, so I'm just gonna seal it up, paint it, do some kind of a panel mount USB connector, and also I haven't decided yet if the fan should run 24/7 or if it should only turn on when one of the outlets is on. Which I think that's probably what I'll do to make the fan last longer. In which case, probably instead of switching it on or off on this end with a MOSFET, I'll probably put the MOSFET on the actual prototyping area of the PWM driver shield. That way there's less complication here, and then I'm actually putting the switching on that end. That's probably what I'll do, just to keep it simple. Because if I did it on this end, I'd have to have a little tiny breadboard mounted inside here, and that's just cluttering it up, and I want to keep this very simple. The more simple it is, the less likely something's to go wrong. Something is likely to go wrong, so... yep, incremental update, but I basically had to do it. If I didn't do this video, then tomorrow it'd be all sealed up and painted, and you wouldn't be able to see the wires inside. So, yep, I guess I will hopefully see you tomorrow. I know I've said that 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and here we are today still talking about an unfinished project. But as you can see, it's already wired. I literally just have to put some screws in it, paint it with some spray paint so it's black, and it'll be inconspicuous underneath my workbench. And that's really about it. There's a little bit of wiring. I gotta mount some panel jacks for my actual signal wire to go in, and I have to obviously cut and do some splicing for my fan wire, but that's really about it. And this is really ready to be completely done. And then I do need to come up with a project box or something for the rest of that, because I'm thinking about mounting it up there, but right now there's really nothing holding it all in. It looks worse than it is. Most of that's just a ton of wire. I didn't know how long the wire runs need to be, so I just made them really long. That way I can cut them and splice them shorter if there's too much, or I can just cable tie it and loop it up or something. But yeah, I'm a very long-winded person. My apologies for all these long videos, especially considering how little content this video had. But yep, I will hopefully be uploading a video tomorrow of the final finished product, at least for this part of the project. I can't guarantee that I'll have all that mounted and tidy, but this will be done at least. And once this is done, then all that's left is to mount the screen and the microcontroller away somewhere and hide all the wiring. But yep, see you later.